It was put on by the local fire department in the small town where I grew up, and I was all excited, told my mom I wanted to do it, so we went out and bought a dress at a resale shop. And I got to the pageant and realized I was the only one wearing a hoop skirt, and everybody else were in these long, sleeky, sequin gowns, and here I am in my big hoop dress. And then to top everything off, at the end of the night, of course it was held outside in front of the fire station, and at the end of the night, when they were announcing all winners and all this stuff, and they take forever, we're all standing there, and I realized something was itching in my stomach area, and I couldn't quite figure it out, and I was nonchalantly trying to feel what that was, and I realized there was something in my pantyhose, and I didn't know what it was. And then as soon as they announced the winner, of course I didn't get anything, and I go running back into the fire department where we were getting dressed, and I rip up my dress and I pull out my pantyhose, and there was a June bug in my pantyhose that was moving around.
Well, my first pageant that I've competed in, I don't know if anybody would believe this, but I competed in talent with piano, and I shook like a leaf, and it was a piece that my piano teacher had written for me. I was so nervous, and I swore I would never play piano again after it, so I chose singing at that point.
I did a lot of appearances for Walmart, and they always wanted me to wear my crown. So I would wear my crown and do the Walmart cheer with all the employees, and then they just would have me sign autographs, or a lot of times they just would want me to walk throughout the store and visit with customers. And I remember on one particular occasion, a sweet older lady came up to me and said, "Oh my goodness, Miss Walmart is here." And I said, "Oh, no ma'am, I'm sorry, I'm not Miss Walmart, but I am Miss Arkansas." And she said, "Oh, okay," and walked off. Didn't even want an autograph.
I went to the Coon Supper. It was about 2 weeks before I left for Miss America, so we were in peak Miss America mode at that point. And Roger Suzanne from Channel 7 came over to me and asked if I would mind doing a live shot for Channel 7 eating a piece of raccoon. So being a good sport, I agreed to do it. I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And so I didn't realize that he was going to continue the shot and ask for my comment afterward. So I managed to choke down this piece of raccoon on live TV and tell him it was great.
I had to play my flute sleigh ride for the very first part of that opening number, and then I was supposed to run backstage, put down my flute, and get ready to come out and sing my part in Winter Wonderland while there were some other numbers going on in this Christmas medley. And I thought that there must be something to this warming up thing, and so I got through with sleigh ride, ran backstage, and I started singing my line in Winter Wonderland over and over and over and over, and it sounded horrible. And then there was a knock at the door, and one of the contestants that was lined up backstage opened the door. They were all doubled over laughing, and she said, "Your microphone is still on." And so while this opening number has been going on, people hear this awful singer coming over the speakers singing this one line from Winter Wonderland over and over and over again. And they're wondering who it is. And so then I have to walk out and sing that line and reveal that it was me. I didn't realize my microphone was on.
But I think one of the funniest stories, I got asked about if my hair was real, and this was by a young man at a school assembly, and he raised his hand and asked me if that red hair was real, and I thought, oh, I've got to think of something cute to say to this child, and so I just laughed and I said, "Do you really think I could get this color out of a bottle?" And he just looked at me without blinking an eye in this entire assembly full of teachers and principals and parents and everything, and he laughed and he said, "Mom does."
A funny story that I can remember is oftentimes when I was Miss Arkansas, I would get asked to MC pageants. And I was actually emceeing the Miss Ozark Highlands pageant for Miss Carol Martin. And in reading the script that she was so nice to put together for me, maybe I wasn't well versed in some
some songs that were being used. And so, for example, a girl was singing Midnight Train to Georgia, and if you don't know, the artist that produced that song was Gladys Knight and the Pips. And I just assumed it was a typo, and on stage I read Gladys Knight and the Pimps. So unfortunately we heard comedy through the audience, but it was a terribly embarrassing moment for me.
It was at a school district around Blytheville, Arkansas, and this little boy, you know, the teacher asked about signing autographs, and that never gets old, by the way, and this little boy just blatantly said that he didn't want an autograph, to the point that you had to wonder why. And his teacher asked him, you know, why do you not want one? And he said, well, this is just my last piece of paper. And I thought, well, it must not have been that valuable.
Well, Sunday morning after I had won, and you had breakfast at that point with Miss America, and you met all the pageant people, and Glennie Mackey at the Arlington Hotel gave you your beautiful wardrobe, and they showed me my beautiful new Toronado by Oldsmobile I'd be driving. My daddy called me over the side and he said, hey, Pump, come here. And I said, yes, sir. And he said, you know that flat tire you had? And I said, yes, sir. He said, well, was it a blowout or just flat? And I said, no, Daddy, it was just going blah, 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 blah. It was just flat. And he said, well, I looked in the back of that car and I didn't see the tire. And I said, well, Daddy, I was so tired and I forgot to put it in, and I had everything else back in the car, so I just rolled it over the side of the hill. And he said, Punk, Miss Arkansas or not, we're not wasting a good tire. Come on, we're going to go find it. So that afternoon, my daddy and I drove all the way down the highway, and he said, now you tell me where you saw that tire, or roll the tire. And the grass was kind of knee-high, and so I said, oh, it was somewhere right here. So we stopped the car and got off on the side, and we were looking, and I said, oh, Daddy, there it is. He said, well, you go get it. I didn't put it down there, you did. So here I am, after having been crowned Miss Arkansas, I'm thinking this is going to be a good deal, walking down this embankment to get the flat tire and rolling it back up. And Daddy said, you got it out, you can put it back in. So I put it back in, and that's how my life as Miss Arkansas began.
I do have a funny story. I was in Blytheville, Arkansas, staying with Robin Houseworth, and I was speaking to the schools in Northeast Arkansas, and I am obsessed with McDonald's. Everyone that knows me well knows that. And so I had a little routine of going through McDonald's in the mornings, and so of course I was driving the Miss Arkansas car, and I had the big seal on the side. And so as I drove through the McDonald's, I ordered my breakfast, and I got to the window, and the girl at the window said, "What's that?" And I said, "Ma'am," and she said, "What's that?" And I said, it's a seal, it's a sticker, it just kind of goes on and off the car, you can take it off." And she said, "No, I mean, what's it for?" And I said, "It's for Miss Arkansas, because this is the Miss Arkansas car." And she goes, "I know that, but why are you driving it?" So, needless to say, I wasn't looking too hot that day.
That year, Arkansas played in the Cotton Bowl, and I got to ride in the parade through downtown Dallas as an Ole Miss graduate, having to call the Hogs every single stop, every mile of that parade in a constant hog call. And Rick Pruitt laughed every chance he got when he knew that I had to call the Hogs all the way down the street. And as a rebel, that sometimes gets a little hard.
Going to a primary school, and there was a little boy in the back who asked several questions, and one of his questions was, "Am I married?" And I kind of got embarrassed, thinking, oh my gosh, I've never been asked that by a kindergartner before, you know. So it was kind of a funny experience at the time. And when I said, "No, Miss Arkansas cannot, you know, be married, and so I'm not married," he said, "Well, I'd like to introduce you to my dad."